Thanks for showing up. I see one guest is here. You have a question about sobriety? Any concerns? Anything you want to ask? Go right ahead. I'm Terry G. Reason I'm doing this is because a lot of people on my channel has asked many times for me to do questions and answers, and I decided to go live and maybe they can ask me that question that they had a couple of weeks ago or just yesterday. They can ask it right now on the channel, and I'll get to it on the live stream. So if anybody has any questions about their recovery, you're thinking on sobering up, you're having some concerns about your family, your friends, maybe your partner, about you getting sober, by all means, you can ask those questions. Getting sober one day at a time can be very, very difficult. It can be full of fear and things that are unexpected, maybe the way you feel, the way you experience things at work. We can talk about that on this channel. I have lots of experience in sobriety. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I do it one day at a time, and I'm just here to help anybody who would like to ask a question about it. So if you have anything you want to ask, by all means, go right ahead. I'm all ready. You know, sobriety can be difficult. It really, really can. So how's everybody tonight? Yeah, you doing okay? This is my first time live stream. It's pretty exciting. Little nervous about it, but getting to it. So let's see. Does anybody out there have anything to say? Getting lonely out here, guys. Come on. Come on, ask Terry G a question. You know, when I first came into sobriety, I was 22 years old. I've talked about that in other videos. I was 22. And well, how long after you stopped drinking did you feel back to normal? Oh, Peter B. It's Peter B from Canada. Long-time listener. Hey, Pete, nice to see you, bud. How long did it take me to start feeling normal? Well, that's a good question. I had a lot of difficulties in the beginning. It took me, and I don't want to discourage people, but for me to start feeling normal, for lesser words, it took me about 3 to 4 years. I had a lot of problems before I started drinking, and I never dealt with anything as a teenager or a young child. So when I started to drink, I kept a lot of those experiences as childhood down, and a lot of difficulties, and the drinking helped me cope with that. So I thought. So feeling back to normal, it took me about 3 to 4 years. I needed a lot of help. I had a lot of anger and a lot of pain. So it took a lot of work. And some days I don't feel normal still to this day, but generally speaking, things are pretty good. But I just want to let everybody know, when it comes to the word normal, we all know normal, you know, we all know that kind of thing. Recovery, everybody's on their own timeline. We're all on our own timeline. Some people may feel a lot better at 6 months or 3 months or even 1 month. Others may take 2 years or 5 years or 6 years. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you and you're not working your program. What it means is simply that you need just more time to recover. You have more issues and more things to work on. Like myself, I had a lot more to work on. So try not to compare yourself to other people when it comes to feeling better or coping with life better off the booze. Just, you're on your own journey. You're on your own timeline. And, you know, that's what you got to think about. Every day that we are off the booze is a great day, no matter what. It may not feel like it, but it's a great day. Peter B from Canada, thanks a lot. Great question. Morgan, what's your thoughts on CBD? CBD oils. That's I don't know. Well, silver. I don't know a lot about CBD oils, Morgan, but I have investigated them because I've had a sore neck. Believe it or not, the neck issue has went away. And here in Canada, marijuana is legal now. You can smoke marijuana and you can sell CBD oil over the counter. My problem with it is this: is that a lot of the CBD oil that I've seen has THC in it, the active ingredient to marijuana. And myself, I think marijuana, and you can disagree with me if you like, marijuana is a mind-altering drug. So myself, I stay away from it. But I know people with pain management issues and supervised by a doctor, CBD oils with THC in it, I think it's great for them. And as long as you're honest with yourself why you're doing it, and it's under a doctor's prescription, I think it's great. Just like that, I think smoking marijuana is okay too, long as it's used for medical use. We have to be honest with ourselves. Are we taking it to get high? Are we taking it to escape? Are we using it to escape things? And CBD oil is the same. It can be used to escape if the THC levels are high enough. And it's a great thing for anxiety, and I've heard it works great for pain too. It comes in all different stuff, different ways to apply it. So myself, I think it's a bit of an outside issue when it comes to alcohol, but I do believe in it. And I think if it's helping people under the supervision of a medical professional, I think it's a great thing to use CBD oils. And my neighbor, my backyard neighbor here, she sells it actually. And she sells it to help dogs. She sells it to pets owners, CBD oil to help dogs with anxiety and help them get over, I guess, some fears. Actually, believe it or not, she gave a sample to my sweetheart Brenda here about over in the summer. She gave a little bit to us. So I think it plays a role. I really do. I think it plays a role in the medical ways in treating anxieties, and I'm not sure exactly what else it treats. I heard maybe it treats depression a little bit, but I'm sure it plays a role. But I would definitely investigate a little more, and I would talk to a medical professional about it. You know, things have changed a lot in the sobriety world. I'm a member of 12-step groups, and 12-step groups are sort of getting hit hard right now when it comes to sobriety. And a lot of it is about the God component in sobriety. And things are changing. Things are changing in the recovery. We're not relying on the 12-step programs that we relied on before in it. We're relying on more medical treatments, more Sinclair methods, smart recovery, empowerment ways, and empowerment methods of recovery. And I think it's a great thing. I really do think it's a great thing. Alcoholics Anonymous does not have the corner on recovery. The main thing is that we try and get and remain recovered one day at a time. Whatever route one person chooses, I think that's the main thing, to save ourselves from the torture of alcoholism. And so I talk a lot about 12-step programs, but it's not necessarily the golden standard of recovery. Does anybody else have any other questions they'd like to ask Terry G while he's here? You know, I started my channel about 5 years ago, and I started to do a motivational channel. And my niece talked to me about, Terry, why don't you talk about something that you've been doing for a lot of years? And that's how I got involved in sharing my story on about alcoholism. My channel has grown a lot, and my main objective of it is to boost awareness of the disease of alcoholism. It's kind of taken back seat lately because the fentanyl and the drug addiction. Fentanyl is very important, but alcoholism, like drug addiction, is very, very important. But alcoholism itself has taken a back seat, and it's one of the biggest causes of people taking off work. It creates disabilities. It creates the economy. It has a big impact on the economy. It has big impact on sick leave, medical leave, at work. Alcoholism is probably one of the biggest diseases out there. Children who are 12 to 13 years old have been drunk at least once and have tried alcohol, believe it or not, at 13 years old. So that was the main objective of my channel, to build awareness and let people know that this is a problem. People are drinking, even in the pandemic, this awful pandemic that we have, the 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 upswing in addiction, the upswing is about 30%, believe it or not. People are relapsing like crazy. I drive a bus here in Ottawa. I'm a bus driver, right? And some of the street guys who get on and they talk about, I ask them about picking up beer cans and stuff out of garbage cans. I talked to them, and the guy was telling me, no reason, like untrue, that the collection of beer cans is up about 30 to 40%. Just by that indication, people are drinking more, and you hear it on the news, you hear it in commercials. People are having a problem with booze. Oh, hi Terry, can you tell me when you knew that you had to stop drinking? Oh, good question. Another good question. These are some of my friends on here that come up to support Terry G, and I want to thank everybody. But good questions. When was it that I knew that I had to stop drinking? Well, I knew I was a full-blown alcoholic by the time I was 18 years old, 17, 18 years old. I was very young. I started to drink when I was 13, and I knew I was a full-blown alcoholic by 18 years old. And the funny thing is, knowing that I'm an alcoholic and doing something about it, like I didn't really know I was an alcoholic, but I knew I had a big drinking problem. So knowing and doing something about it are totally different. I knew I was an alcoholic, and I knew I was in trouble when I was 18 years old. I was a drug addict and an alcoholic, full-blown at 18. But I refused to do something about it. Alcoholism, the disease of alcoholism, it was a funny thing, because it makes us blame other people, blame other things for our problems in life. But the main problem can be alcoholism. And because I might have drank over, like what I'm trying to say, I hope I'm not confusing anybody, but I used to drink over my shitty childhood, my crummy childhood. If they would have done this to me, I would have done this, and all that kind of stuff. And I drank over those things, but it didn't make me an alcoholic. But I knew I was in trouble when I was 18, because my drinking wasn't like with my other people. So I just want to tell you that, and long and short of it, by 18 years old, I knew I was in trouble, and I knew I had to do something about my alcoholism. I was 22 when I first went into recovery, and I thought everybody was too old. They're all like me now, no hair and gray. I thought everybody was too old, and I left. It took me another 6 years. I came in when I was 28, and by then I've lost everything, my job, everything, And so alcoholism and, being young kind of keeps us away from it, kind of keep us away from drinking, because the stopping, because we think we're young. The phenomena of craving. Yeah, good question. I spoke about the phenomena of craving a little while ago, and the phenomena of craving is, when we talk about craving, and I'll just give you my opinion of it, and I think it's a pretty good one, to be honest with you, because I'm an alcoholic, and I used to get cravings like crazy. And when somebody says to me in a meeting or wherever I'm going, like-minded people I'm hanging around, maybe in Tim Hortons having a coffee, and they talk to me about cravings, they're not telling me that they feel like drinking, like they've made a decision to drink. And I hope I explained this properly. Like, they made a decision to drink. I've had a lousy day at work. I'm a little stressed out. I'm going to go out and drink. It's kind of like that, but it's not like that. The phenomena of craving is well explained in the phenomena of craving, because the craving itself is almost like a compulsion to drink. It's compelling us to drink. It's almost like it takes over us, and it can be very, very strong. It's like telling us to drink and we'll feel better. And I don't know if I explained that properly, but to me, it was like that. It wasn't so much a thing that I wanted to drink. It's like I was being was being forced to drink, if that makes any sense. So when it came to my emotions and my mental well-being, when I had a trigger, usually it was triggers, like I broke up with a girlfriend or very stressful day, or for me, I had lots of anger problems. So if I got angry, I'd have a craving, and it was usually brought on by a trigger of life. So that really, I hope that explains it to you, but that's what it really did to me. And it kind of compelled me to drink. It almost made me want to force me to drink. And my mind was telling me, if I drink, I will feel better. And this whole conversation was going on just inside me. It wasn't happening outside me, it was happening within me. So I just think that the phenomenon of craving is very real. And when it comes to a person with alcoholism, the cravings can lead to relapse. The best thing we can do is reach out, change our way of thought, and just get out of that mode and just realize that those cravings go away after 10 to 20 minutes. Those cravings should go away, and they will. And over time, the cravings will dissipate and they will disappear. And maybe you have a craving a little bit here and there in your life. I got a craving. I broke up with somebody maybe 10, 12 years ago, and I got one hell of a craving, believe me. And I was in sobriety for about 17, 18 years. So I hope that answered. They're very real. Do something about it. Just don't sit there and stew on the craving. Reach out and do something about it, okay? What's the doctor's opinion? Read the doctor's opinion. Huh. Oh, yeah, I see Brenda. Read the doctor's opinion. Yeah, okay. Good one. Page. What's that? What page is that? I can't read Roman numbers. What separates us from others? It never happens in the average temperament drinker. That's another thing, eh? I don't know who this person is. 64 Hedgehog. Good. That's a good question. That's an excellent question. What makes us different? Different than other people. Let me see. I'll just read it exactly. What separates us from others? This never happens in the average drinker. Exactly. That's a really good question, and I don't think a lot of us can answer that question. I don't know if I can answer it, but for myself, what happens to the, okay, I just have to make sure I want to, hi, 64 Hedgehog, hi. Well, why? That's like saying, why am I an alcoholic? And I don't know if I'm going to take a stab at that question, because I think it's making me think of what makes us different than the average person. I know a lot of people who drink. Oh, Billy. Oh, hi, Bill. What makes us drink? And I know a lot of people who drink. Like, they don't drink alcoholically. I don't hang around people who use drugs or drink alcoholically. But I know some people, like my sweetie pie, she'll have one glass of wine, Brenda, and she'll say that's enough, when they start feeling it. And they feel tipsy, or they feel a sense maybe of losing control. I don't know what that's like, but that's the feeling I liked. When I drank, I liked that feeling of losing control. I like that feeling of the booze taking away my problems in life. So I always thought that people who couldn't drink had a drinking problem, and I didn't have a drinking problem. So that's one thing that separates. I can't drink like normal people. And when I start drinking, I just want more of it. And I like it. And I think it's a solution to my problems. Like I said, when I drank when I was 18, I knew I was in trouble, but I used alcohol as a solution to my problems. I used it as a coping mechanism for I could approach life like I thought was like a regular person. So that's sort of what it's like to me. They say, they have a saying out there in the alcoholic world. It's not the caboose that kills you, it's the engine. So basically what they're saying is that one drink. It's not the 20th drink. It's the first drink that gets us. It's the first drink. When I drink, I don't know where I'm going to end up. I really don't know where I'm going to end up. So I think that's what separates me a lot from other people. Scientists might say it's genetic. They're probably right. It's probably got a little bit of genetics to it. It's probably got a lot of situational, like people were the way you're brought up. You saw your dad drink. You saw people drink. It probably has a lot to do with it too. But what separates me from an average person? I love to drink, and I drank a lot, usually at the wrong times, and I drank more of a solution to my problems than just drinking just for the average, just for the hell. Excuse me, for the hell of it. Jeez, I just burped. Yep. Any more questions there? How's dry cell? Oh, thank you very much. You love my energy. Yeah, yeah. Thanks a lot. Dry cell 183. Thanks a lot. When it comes to my energy, I want to have energy because I want to tell each and every one of you people out there. It's like having the cure for cancer. If you had the cure for cancer, you'd be screaming it from your rooftops. Alcoholism is taking us down, a lot of us down. And some of us have crummy childhood, crummy upbringings. And then what happens is we get struck by alcoholism and it takes us farther down. So when I'm happy and I'm aware of being, sobriety is great to have sobriety. It really is. You can have a normal, perfect life, and it's great to be positive about it. Everybody who's an alcoholic and is recovered should be damn proud of themselves because let me tell you, the alternative is really, really bad. Really, really bad. Do I have sponsees? Morgan, another question from Morgan. Do I have sponsees? Yes. Yes, I do have sponsees. I have one sponsee that says I'm his sponsor, but never talks to me. That's for sure. I have another one who used me a lot, but life is going a little better, so he doesn't call me a lot. So I have two sponsees. And when it comes to sponsees, I only keep I usually have one, or maybe it depends how much I'm involved with them. But if one has a lot of problems going on at the beginning, usually they do, I try and only keep one. Because to me, having a sponsee, mentoring somebody in the program is a responsibility and it takes time. People, when they come into recovery, they can be very high maintenance. They can have a lot of difficulties going on and they need a lot of guidance and a lot of support. So I have sponsees, but I keep it very limited, very limited. I'm not one of these guys that have 9 sponsees or, 10 sponsees. One, and taking 2 on right now. I'm doing that because the first guy is sort of out of the hot water and he's moved forward in his life and things are a little better for him. So I have the time, but having the time for people in recovery and giving back is really great for you. I don't care what program you're into or you're into a church group or wherever you are, but helping other people just in general is really great to do. And not even alcoholics. If you can go out of your way, if you're not even an alcoholic, if you can go out of your way to help people, that's a great thing. I just noticed all my letters on my board are all backwards to you guys, eh? They're all backwards, eh? We have honesty, attitude, self-care, motivation, productivity, understanding, support. There's all words, all good words, eh? All great stuff, eh? What's your thoughts on non-alcoholic beer? The old trickster. When I hear alcoholics or people who have problems with drinking, and I'm not judging anybody here, so take it for what it's worth. When it comes to non-alcohol beer, take it for what it's worth. I think it's a great solution for the beer companies. They can jam more beer down people's throats. But I'll just start off. A lot of non-alcohol beer has alcohol in it. Here in Canada, I think it's under 5% or maybe even under 3%. They don't have to put it on the label. And there's a small percentage that they don't have to put the alcohol on the label. So they don't have to say there's alcohol in it. There's true non-alcohol beers out there. There's true. Okay. Oh, they're not backwards. Oh, thanks, Peter. Oh, I guess I screwed up there. I'm seeing them backwards in my camera. That's why I thought you guys were seeing them backwards. But they're not backwards. Good. So you can see them all, eh? Great. So non-alcohol beer. I think non-alcohol beer is good for regular people. I never drank for the flavor. Well, I shouldn't say I never drank. I was a Molson X guy. I love Molson X. That was my poison. You know, we used to bother people. You know, they drank Canadian or Coors Light, whatever it was. Back then, there wasn't Coors Light. When I quit drinking, the coolers just came in. It was 1991. I finally got a hang of it. It's just about 30 years ago. Coolers just came in. And near beer wasn't there. We call it near beer. But I think not like people who drink non-alcoholic beer, who are full-blown alcoholics, might do it because they want to fit in. But I never drank for the flavor. I drank for the impact. I drank for the thrill of it. And I've heard a lot of people drink non-alcoholic beer because they like the flavor. Well, that might be okay for somebody who's not an alcoholic. But I think it's a major head game that you'll do to yourself if you drink non-alcoholic beer. I think it's a major head game. I would stay away from it. I tried it one time, not non-alcohol beer, but non-alcohol wine, like this wine stuff. I don't know, it was a bubbly wine. And it was at a Christmas gathering, you know, my ex-wife, she bought it, put it on the table for us, right? And I just thought that it's tempting. Like alcoholism is just not about the physical. It's just not about the drinking. It's about the emotional, mental, and the spiritual life. So if I see a beer bottle, I think of drinking. If I have near beer around my house, that may trigger me to drink. That may bring that craving, the phenomena of craving back to me. So I just try and avoid it completely. I try and avoid non-beers, non-alcohol beers, all that kind of stuff, wines, whatever it may be. I don't even put alcohol in my my food when I cook. I don't do that. Cunning, baffling, and powerful. Gee, you must be a 12-step guy. Cunning, yeah, baffling, powerful. Yeah. I used to think alcohol wasn't powerful because I drank it to make me powerful. I used to think that. You know, they have a step, we were powerless over alcohol, our lives have become unmanageable. And, you know, and it's very like, I'm just losing my train of thought here. I'm talking a lot here tonight. I want to thank everybody for their feedback. This is great. You know, I didn't think a few of my buddies are on here, you know, help me out, get this thing going. This is the first time I went live. I think it's great. I think it's a great day to be sober. I think it's great. And even people who are non-alcoholics, they can join in here because alcoholism, we all know one. We all got one in our families, or we have one in our relatives or in our friends. We all know somebody who's at the party and always says, you always look at it and say, you know, he or she, you know, she's always seemed to drink more than all of us. What the hell's going on with her? We all know that, right? We all know that. Cunning, baffling, and powerful. You know, I remember relapsing and, you know, saying to myself, here I go again. Here I go again. I was baffled. You know, I would say to myself, I'm going to quit drinking. And I was baffled when I would end up drinking again. And I would say to myself, I would drink over, you know, sort of like one of my routines in life. I'll just give you an example. One of my routines in life was I would work like crazy all week. And my rewards on Friday was drinking and drugging. Because by then I'd be super stressed out and I just want to drink. So To make a long story short, those nights that I was doing that, it was for fun and pleasure. It wasn't to get in trouble. But I used to dress up, go to the bars at night, have a lot of fun, and end up in jail. And something that was supposed to be a fun night turned out to be me being in handcuffs in jail. And I always say to myself, how the hell did I even get there? How did I get there? You know, the powerlessness, the cunningness, and being baffled, because alcoholism, addiction, I can try all I want. I can throw the will at it all I want. But it always seemed to kick the legs out from underneath me. And I land back in jail or job loss, charged with assault, some crazy stuff would happen. But my intentions were always, let's just go out and have fun, or I'll just have one beer. Yeah, I can go here. I can hang out with my buddies doing a little coke or smoking some weed. I can do that. That kind of stuff. And before you know it, I'd be right back into it. In my house of cards, my life would be in turmoil again. Something would turn out would go, something would sort of be a nice thing or a fun thing or a rewarding event would always turn to garbage, would always turn to crap. My God, it was terrible. At holiday party, drink so much. Yeah, we do have somebody at the holiday party drinking so much. Harry, he was a mean drunk when I was a child. Who was a mean drunk when you was a child? Who was a mean drunk? I finally got my dad to quit drinking about after 30 years. 30 years of battle. Yeah, that's great. I wish, my father, he quit drinking, and my childhood living with an alcoholic in the house, I could do 50 videos on that. And the whole I got it. I didn't read your other one there, Harrison. I didn't read your other one. The whole living with I called it a behavior alcoholic. My dad, things changed as I sobered up and he sobered up. He was in the program for many years. He got sober, but living in that house was terrible. It was terrible. He'd get mean, like you said. My father would. I tell you, man, my old man was a dick. I shouldn't say it like that, but it's true. He scared the living hell out of us all the time. Come in drunk, drinking at the dinner table, drunk, fighting with my mother, just crazy stuff all the time. So I'm glad your father finally stopped the booze, and I hope he's still off the booze, and I hope your relationship with him has improved, because my relationship with my father in my 40s improved a lot. It really did. It took me, I shouldn't say in my 40s, probably my late 30s. I disowned my old man for a number of years. I was so many resentments and so much going on with him. I had to step out of it for a while because it wasn't doing me any good to associate with him. I had to get rid of some hatred, some anger towards him. I was very angry. But it all worked out. He's passed on now. He died many years ago. But our relationship really improved. It was very good. I had problems with both parents. Living in an alcoholic home, and having a mother that's trying to look after the alcoholic parent, could be the mother or the father, either one could be alcoholics, is a very difficult situation to live in when you're young. Well, it's a difficult situation for anybody to live in, but when you're young, when you're a child or in your teens, it's very, 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 very difficult. And a lot of people who live in those environments grow up to be alcoholics. They can grow up to be alcoholics, can have behavioral problems, educational problems, earning power issues. There can be a lot of different issues going on, social issues with growing up in an alcoholic home, that there's a lot of maybe violence or a lot of there's not a lot of stability in those homes. So, raising children is very important. Those kids are like sponges, eh? They're like sponges. 10 years ago, he got into a drunk driving accident and killed a family. Yeah. He was sentenced to 25 years. Jeez. Oh, yeah, I see. Wow. Wow, I don't like to. Yeah, that's heavy, man. Yeah, he killed a family in an accident. Oh, okay. Are you Harrison? Are you with him anymore? Like, are you talking to him or anything? Or are you disowned him? Like, I hope Oh, you're from New Zealand. Oh, okay. I got my friend there from New Zealand. You saw me on the bus video, didn't you? You saw me on the bus video. So I see, yeah, that going to jail would get the guy off the booze for sure. Oh, so you helped him out. You found that love and that care to help your father out. I think that's great. Hey, me from New Zealand. How you doing? It's Terry G. I'm live tonight. You got a question? You want to say hello? Just say hello. Let's do it. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to your dad. Thank you very much. Do I have a sponsor that you talk to every day? No, I have a sponsor. Well, I like the Boogaloo, by the way. It's not a sponsorship or anything. It's just I like it. No sugar. Yes. Always. Just one second, Morgan. I just want to get back to Harrison there. He's going through lung cancer. Jeez. Wow. You're there for him. I think that's fantastic. Good for you. Good for you. How's he doing with the lung cancer? Is he going to be okay? Because I know they can help you along a little bit. I hope he's okay. I really do. Hope for your sake too. Morgan, yes, I do have a sponsor. I've had the same sponsor. I can say I've had the same sponsor for 27 years. His name's Jim W, and I've had him for 27 years. He's getting old because I'm getting old too. I met him when I was about 30. No, would it be 30s? I don't know. Do the math. But anyways, I never met him when I first came into the program. But he's a sponsor. He's my same sponsor, and I have the same sponsor because I always said I want somebody who knows me, call me out on my stuff, and who can get to know me for who I am, good, bad, and ugly sort of thing. I talk to him probably 2 or 3 times a week. Now, when we first met, there wasn't such thing as texting, but now we text. I talk to him 2 or 3 times a week, and I try and call him at least once just to catch up. But our life now is more like friendship. We're like friends now. And so yes, I do have a sponsor, and I do use them quite a bit. Okay, what else we got here? Any more? How's the weather in New Zealand, by the way? Harrison, where do you live? Where are you from? Yeah, it is awesome, having somebody like that. I know people in recovery a lot longer than I've known a lot of people. In recovery, you build relationships. North Carolina, right on. How's the recovery down there? Is it any good? Is the recovery good down there? You going to meetings? I hope so. How long you been in recovery for? Oh, doctors aren't making promises there, right? Jeez. I hate cancer, man. Jesus, there's so many people with the cancer nowadays. Unbelievable. Oh, you're a sponsor? How many meetings a week you going to? Oh, you take classes to help them. Good. Right on. You know, a big topic in programs, a lot of people talk to hardcore straight edge myself because of my dad. Yeah, yeah, right on. You know, talk about relapse a lot. Relapse a lot is a lot in recovery, and people think relapse is a part of recovery. Well, it it kind of is, but it isn't. I'd say it's not. I know a lot of people who've never relapsed in recovery who's got 30, 25, 20, 15 years. A lot of us do relapse. I relapsed twice in recovery. And it's a big deal. A lot of people relapse. And I think one of the main reasons, and this is only my opinion, take it for what it's worth. I think relapse is caused by a lot of people, and correct me if you're wrong. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just in my opinion that it's hard to change, to make changes in recovery. You know, when I came into recovery, I thought if I just quit the alcohol, life should get a lot better. If I just quit booze, life will get better. Put a plug on the jug, and I should be able to have a reasonably good life. And was I ever wrong? Was I ever wrong? And that's one of the main reasons I did relapse, is because I thought like that. I needed to change my life. I needed to do a 180. You've heard me talk about that in recovery before, doing a 180 in recovery. And that's what I had to do. But I didn't realize that until I went out twice. And the second time, it was 14 months of recovery, and I ended up in jail with assault. Not changing, not working a program or reaching out for help is one of the biggest mistakes I ever did in my recovery. It's all trial and error. I shouldn't say it's a mistake. It's all sort of trial and error in recovery. But I had a lot more problems going on with the drinking, right? The drinking was but a symptom of a greater problem. If I didn't quit drinking, I would never be able to fix the other problems in my life that alcohol was causing in those lives. So for myself, once I started to work the program and make some changes, I was able to maintain my sobriety. That's what I did. So I think relapses are premeditated drunks, but the main thing is, if you relapse, go back, try again, keep going back. Don't give up. Don't give up, because the alternative can be pretty lousy. It really can. And it was for me. Like, I ended up in jail. Like, it was awful. It was an awful thing. You talk about cunning, baffling, and powerful. Yeah. It's 14 months sobriety, so-called sobriety, and I ended up in jail. Here in Canada at the OPP Center in Eagleson. That was quite the event, believe me. How long did you stay out the 2 times you relapsed? Well, to be honest with you, it wasn't really that long. I think the first time was a week. I relapsed at 9 months. At 9 months of sobriety, I relapsed. And I think that was about a week. And then I went back in. I was in a very terrible relationship. I was in this awful relationship. I tell you, if you want to see an alcoholic or a dysfunctional person's behaviors, just watch them in a relationship, and all that negativity comes out. It came out in me, right? All that negative crap came out. But anyways, the first one was for about a week only, because I was living with somebody who was in recovery. And I would be allowed back in if I didn't drink. If I was drinking, I wouldn't be allowed back in. So the first one was 1 week, and the second one was only for like 3 days. And I went on this big, huge binger for 3 days, and I ended up, getting on the telephone and shooting my mouth off and saying things I should not have said, and I got thrown in the slammer for that one. So I wasn't out that long, but the damage was astronomical. Believe me, it took me after the 14 months to clean up that mess, it took me about 6 years, 7 years, because they put me on probation, the whole 9 yards, and I wouldn't be able to get a job as a city bus driver to clean up my act. I wouldn't be able to do that, and it took a long time. I got a couple years probation for that one. Believe me, I thought I was going to go to jail. Came really close. It came really close to that one, but I didn't. So that was that I didn't go to jail, anyways. But the relapse that took the longest, if you want, yeah, there was another relapse. It's when I was 22. I was in AA for, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months. That relapse ended that relapse lasted 6 years. It lasted 6 years, that one. So that was a major one. And I tell you, when I came into recovery, I was pretty beat up financially. The last year of recovery, I lived in about 12 different places. I was basically unemployable. I had no money. I was living at the YMCA. I was on welfare, going to food banks, eating at food banks, that kind of stuff, soup kitchens. I was a mess. I was 150 pounds. Haven't been to a dentist and a doctor in probably 10 years. Mentally, I was nuts. I had anger and rage, a very hurt, very damaged person. Oh God. And for people to come into recovery and get their life back in order and get things rolling properly for them again, it's a bloody miracle, man. It really, really is, for people to turn it around. I've seen a number of individuals come into programs and completely beaten up, completely done in, and change their lives around. And they're just they got great jobs, they're self-employed, they've remarried, they have children, nice cars, they're functioning properly as an individual, they're responsible, they're paying their bills, that kind of stuff. And you'd look at them before, they're living on the street. I know a guy who lived on the street, drinking Listerine, Lysol, that kind of stuff. And the thing I just mentioned is that guy. Family, car, work, responsible, unbelievable. The work he did to help himself was unreal, unreal, and that's the miracle. And back at the beginning, somebody says, "Why am I so positive?" And that's because of that. I've seen stuff like that, but I've seen stuff on the other side too that it's not so great either, right? There's a lot of sad stories that come along with addiction. There's a lot of sad stuff out there. Anybody have any more questions? I'm running out of things to talk about up here. Come on. Anybody? This is the first time I've done this, and I think it's great. I think it's a great way to carry the message and build awareness about alcoholism. I just think it's fantastic to do this. The YouTube channel, it's okay. I don't mind doing it. I spend a lot of time doing it. I've gotten a lot better at it, I think, anyways. A lot of the stuff that's on my YouTube channel, a lot of stuff I talk about is personal experiences. I don't, like I say, I'm not a psychiatrist or an expert, like addiction counselor or anything like that. I'm just an alcoholic, somebody who came in very broken, somebody who came in hopeless, discouraged, run down, and managed to put it back together over time. And I wanted to share this with the people, wanted to share this. I'm just an average Joe. I'm just an average guy who works at staying sober one day at a time, and always pushing forward to do that, doing new things, do what has to be done to keep my mental health and my emotional health and physical health up to par. Just keep moving forward. That's what I do. And no regrets here, man. No regrets. How long did you stay out? Okay, I already got that one. I have almost 8 months sober. When should I think about sponsoring? When can you think about sponsoring? Well, Lots of people might say, Terry G, you're nuts what you're going to say. But I think a lot of, let me just back it up a lot. I think you could start sponsoring right now with a week's sobriety, or you say you have 8 months sobriety. You could start sponsoring now, you know, because we have something to offer. Like I said before, people come into the program are pretty broken. We don't go to AA, or you don't go into recovery homes, or, food banks or whatever as an alcoholic because you won the lotto and life is great. No one does that. I don't think anyways. If your life is going great and you're in AA and stuff, or you're in smart recovery, I don't know. I don't know about that one. So 8 months recovery is fantastic. It's great to have 8 months recovery. It's great to have 24 hours of recovery. You can tell that person how you got to your 8 months, how you worked on your 8 months of recovery. You can start telling them that. So you have lots to offer. So 8 months, 8 days, 8 hours, you can start helping people. You can start help sponsoring. Sponsoring doesn't have to be a big, knowing a big knowing of the steps, or knowing smart recovery, or the secular or modern. It doesn't have to be that. A lot of recovery, a lot of stuff that I do in recovery when I help my sponsees or somebody, is just simply listening to somebody and helping them out. That's what I do. Just listen to them and give them a little support. Because myself, I never talked to anybody. No one ever listened to me. I didn't think I was that interesting. When somebody listened to me about my woes and things, I start to feel better. I start to feel hopeful. And the coin of phrase, recovery is basically one alcoholic talking to another alcoholic. That's basically what it is. And we can do that. We don't have to know what we're doing. I know that sounds kind of stupid, but it's kind of true, because we know what we're doing. Well, I don't even know what the hell I'm saying. I just got tongue-tied there. Tongue-tied. What I'm saying is that we don't have to be experts. Just support the individual. Go for a coffee and do that. And you'll be surprised how your sobriety will flourish over that. Here's Wilford. Thanks a lot. Listen to somebody who succeeded at sobriety. Yeah. One day at a time. The time that I succeed at sobriety is when I'm 6 foot under. I'm working all the time on it, but sobriety is a lifestyle, and it's what I do. It's a lot easier now. I came into, like I said earlier, I don't know if you were here, but I came in when I was 22. I went back out, and I finally got sobered up when I was 31. And I was a full-blown alcoholic at 18. But the thing is that I'm always working on it, It's like sobriety is not something I have and I can keep. It's something I sort of rent. So doing this channel, doing this open discussion here on the YouTube channel is helping me maintain my sobriety. So I feel very successful. I feel very good about my life. You most definitely do. I most definitely do. But I know I need to always stay in contact with like-minded people and do it one day at a time. But thanks for saying that I'm succeeding, because I like that. I like, it's good. It's possible. Sobriety is possible. All your dreams can come true one day at a time if we stay sober, if we do what we have to do. It's not easy. It's not. It's very difficult. It's very hard to stay sober, especially at the beginning. But it's worthwhile. It's really worthwhile. I drank for a lot of years. I drank hard for a lot of years. I did a lot of drugs. I did coke. I did all kinds of stuff. To sober up and think that I'm going to be okay is kind of an illusion. Alcohol separates us from our true self. We have a hard time coping with stress. We have a hard time coping with our feelings, the way we're thinking. in relationships, resentments, anger, hurt. It takes time, but it's worth it. It's worth it. We're always, I'm always doing it. I'm always trying. I have no regret. I'm just moving forward all the time with my sobriety. And Ken Cooper, thank you very much. I'm glad I helped you. You're very, very welcome. You're very welcome. You helped me, man. You helped me, Ken, showing up here on tonight, going in the little feed there. You're helping me out because, people showing up tonight. I was saying to Brenda, my partner, that I don't even know if anybody's going to show up. I only have a small channel, and I'm not Brad Pitt, and I'm not some celebrity. I'm just an average Joe, and I just do the best I can. But I just want to thank everybody for showing up. I think it's great that you show up. I really do. I think it's fantastic. Talk about the subjects you talk about are very helpful to all of us. Morgan, thank you very much. I'm glad you're finding them helpful. That's great. That's fantastic. We all got somebody who's drinking, eh? And if you know somebody who's an alcoholic and they're not stopping drinking, and you're feeling the effects of that in your household or in your marriage with your partner, there's other outreach groups. There's Al-Anon. That's a sister group of AA. They're a support group for living with an alcoholic. And apparently, I've never been. I don't know. I shouldn't say I've never been. I've been to maybe one or two, because they always suggested in early recovery to go to an Al-Anon meeting. And when you're an alcoholic and you go to an Al-Anon meeting, let me tell you something. You feel like a total loser, or you feel like the bad guy. The bad guy. You're the guy who ruined our lives. You're the alcoholic that wrecked our lives. You son of a bitch, You're the guy, and you feel like that. You feel like you're like centered out. They don't say that to you, but when they're sharing and they're talking about their issues, you're like, yeah, shit, I did that stuff. I did that, So there's Al-Anon, and if there's teenagers that you have, children that you have, there's Alateen for them, the support for people like that, and who need support. So there's a lot of support out there with people, and there's a lot of people also out there who are thinking about stopping drinking, thinking about maybe taking the leap, and wondering how is it going to go over with their family and friends and that. So, I say kudos to you. If you're thinking about recovery, you're looking at your drinking, you're saying it's affecting you, you're trying to, feel it out and see how it's going to go. And, I say kudos to you, because thinking about recovery, thinking about getting sober is great. And that's the job, like I said, of this channel, is building awareness, letting people know that there is hope. There is always hope for recovering alcoholics or recovering addicts. And there's hope for the family, that individual will get better. If it's your son or your wife, your husband, your cousin, your girlfriend, whoever it may be, there's always hope for them. There really is. Have you heard of Celebrate Recovery? It is a Christian-based recovery. Do they have them in Canada? I don't know. Good question. I would think, I'm not sure. I would think that there more likely is. And I know there's Christian-based recovery homes here in Ottawa. So I'd imagine there's other ones in Canada for sure. Ottawa can't possibly be the only one. There's Harvester House. It's been here for years and years and years. And they're a Christian-based recovery. And I know a gentleman at the meeting the other night, he told me, he was saying that he goes to a church and they have a recovery meeting there. And actually, I have the book downstairs. It's the Bible with the 12 steps in it. It's a recovering Christian Bible, and they read from that. and they do their steps, and it relates to the Bible. Their steps, like step 1, step 2, that kind of stuff. It's Alcoholics Anonymous basically, but done through a recovery way of the church, a more Christian way of doing things. And that would probably, I don't know if it's called Celebrate Recovery, but I know there is Christian based recovery. And like I said, Alcoholics Anonymous does not have the corner on recovery. It doesn't. There's a lot of different ways of getting sober through the church, smart recovery, secular groups. There's a lot of secular groups out there now that that have the religious aspect right out of it. They don't talk about God. They don't talk about the higher power. They don't have that spiritual. They're like, well, the group here I went to, they used to call the agnostic group. So that sort of rounds it up, right? The agnostic believe that there's the non-existence of God, right? So there's secular groups. People are struggling with Christianity, are struggling with the word God. They can go to these groups, and they're 12-step based. Their recovery base is very similar to the 12-step programs, but they take out the word God, and basically of all the general text, but they still use the big book. So I don't know if they're taking the words out of the big book and crossing the word God out. I'm not sure. I was asked to speak there one time on a topic. I spoke on step 1, and that might be their formula, just on brief open speakers. Maybe they don't even use the big book, but it was a good group. It was different. It was a different kind of group. It's really weird when you don't hear about God and that, but there's a treatment center here called Meadow Creek. And I went to Meadow Creek many years ago in recovery, and, went to a rehab, and it helped me a lot. It helped me get started, man. Oh man, helped me get started. I hated it. I hated the locked up part, but it helped me a lot. So I went to this rehab, and we used to be able to talk about God and everything, and talk about higher power and all this kind of stuff. Even at the detox center here, they call it the alcohol withdrawal center now. They don't call it a detox. But you can't talk about God anymore. You can't talk about spirituality or anything. So what I'm trying to say is that, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I got off topic. But anyways, there's a secular group. That's what it's about. But if you have a problem with a higher power, there's something for you. There's female groups. There's all kinds of groups. There's male or only groups. There's gay groups. There's all kinds of groups. There's no reason why you cannot find support in your program. And support is really important. If you're trying to do sobriety on your own, forget it. It's very hard. You can do it probably for a week, or maybe a month, or maybe 6 months, maybe a year. But you'll probably drive yourself a little nuts, a little kooky doing it. So support is really important. It really is. And I believe in counseling. I believe in going to 12-step groups, like I just mentioned. I believe in talking to like-minded people, sponsorships, sponsees, whatever you need to do to get through the day in a positive way. We need to do that. We need to do that because it'll help you immensely. But trying to do it on your own, like you're an island, forget it. Alcoholics think like that. We think we know, oh yeah, you don't know my problems. You don't know what I'm thinking about. My problems are way better than way bigger than your problems. Or my drinking was way worse than your problem, what you're drinking. Or, I did more drugs than you. I'm cooler than you. Well, let me tell you something. No, you're not. We're all the same. We're all the same. When it comes down to it, we need recovery, and we're not unique. Terminal uniqueness will drive you back out to recovery, thinking you're different. You're not. I thought I was different, but I'm not different. I'm just like everybody else. I'm a person with alcoholism, and I suffer from alcoholism addiction, and it ruined my life. And I'm no better than anybody on this chat room, and I'm no better than anybody who's out there on the street drinking. The only difference between them and me is I don't have a beer in my hand. They have a beer in their hand. But I could be there very easily if I choose to drink or go back out to drink very easily. Yeah. So what was it like going to your very first meeting? Good question too. I like these. That question brings me back a long time ago, man. I'll tell you what I'll tell you my two first meetings, okay? If that makes any sense. I went to, when I was 22 years old, and I went to my first meeting. It was in Brampton, Ontario, up by Toronto, Canada. And I went in, like I said, I was 22. And the very first meeting I went to, I felt that these people are very old. And I felt very nervous. And I just felt like I didn't belong. And I left. I stayed sober, like I said, for about 3 or 4 months after that on my own willpower. So that was my very first meeting. Bring it forward now, another about 9 years later, 10 years later, was here in Ottawa at the Tuesday Friday group. It was a speaker meeting. I walked in, there was about 150 people. I was so nervous. I could have jumped out of my skin. I was sober. I wasn't drinking, but I was so nervous. And I remember, I wouldn't get up and go and get a coffee because I thought everybody's looking at me. And I just felt so self-conscious about things. And I felt so, just overwhelmed about being in recovery. And I was very nervous. I didn't know really what to do in my first meeting, but I knew I belonged. And I kind of liked it, to be honest with you. I kind of liked being there, but it was very nerve-wracking. It really was. I knew a little about recovery because my dad was an AA. He was an AA guy. I'm talking about 12 steps here. My dad was an AA guy. So I wasn't totally ignorant to the facts or what was going on at the meetings. So I kind of knew what to expect. And I think that helped me a lot in my, my expectations of the meeting. But itself, I was extremely nervous. Oh my God, I felt like a fish out of water. But I stayed, and I liked being in recovery. I did. Even at that very moment, I said, I'm going to do this, and I like it. And I didn't know really what was going to happen, but I knew, and I listened to the speaker. I can't even tell you what the speaker was about, but I liked it. I liked hearing it. I found the speaker very entertaining, to be honest with you. I found him very, very entertaining. So that was what it was like. But I'll tell you, Wilford, after that meeting, I went out and I had a double Grand Marnier. I didn't stay sober after that meeting. I went out and I drank after that meeting. This woman I was with, we went to her place and we drank. I drank Grand Marnier. I didn't even stay sober after that meeting. It wasn't until like the following week I stayed sober. So that's for all it's worth. I wasn't, like they say, quite ready. I was on the cliff, ready to jump, but I wasn't ready to take the leap. I was still, maybe I'm just a person with a lot of bad luck. Maybe it's not alcohol. Maybe it's just I'm just a person with a lot of bad luck. That's what I was thinking. And it turns out I belonged. I liked that meeting. I went to that meeting often. I lived downtown, like at the Y there. After I got sober, I got off the street, basically. I went and lived up the Y, and I could walk to that meeting. It was called the Tuesday Friday group because it went, obviously, why? It was on Tuesdays. It was on Friday. It was a speaker meeting. They had cookies and coffee, and people would talk to me. They made me feel friendly. After a few more meetings, I felt like I belonged there. Start talking to people and get to know some people. It wasn't too long that I felt like like this is going to be okay for me. This is going to be okay. I hope that answers your question. Anybody else have any questions? I'm going to give it a few more minutes, and I think I'm going to shut it down here. You know, when we go to recovery meetings of any sort, the ones that I've been at, that there's not a lot that is demanded of us. And you know, if you go to a 12-step group of recovery, just go. Don't worry about anything. Just show up, sit down, grab a coffee, whatever if you can, or bring something to drink if you can, whatever. Bring nothing. Just go and sit and listen. You don't really have to do anything. Just sit there and just relax. There's nothing expected of you when you're in these recovery groups, and you know, and just, you know, you've been through enough, sort of thing. It's time to do a little self-care and just relax and look after yourself. So if you go to 12-step groups, I'm just repeating myself, just go, sit there and give it a try. I suggest that you give it as much, 4, 5 months, see how it goes. Give it an honest try. And you might find out you like it like I did, and you're willing to stick it out. And I think it's a great thing. I really do. You know, in recovery, they talk about 90 meetings in 90 days. You could try that if you want. Do 90 and 90. That might be something you'd be interested in. I never did it. I couldn't do 90 and 90. I did most meetings I ever did in one day was 3 meetings. I did 3 meetings on the weekends and maybe 1 or 2 during the week in my recovery. And my sponsor at that time, it wasn't the same guy I have now. He told me to, go to as many meetings as I can, and I did. And when we drink, there's a lot of time, right, that we need to fill. So going to meetings helps us fill in that time. Being active helps us fill in that time. And I'm pretty sure that's where that slogan came, that saying came from, 90 and 90, just to help us start creating new behaviors, help us, fill in some of that time. Okay. So I'm going to shut it down. I've been an hour and 10, 12 minutes. I just want to say something, that we're in this together. And I know I'm on YouTube, and I know I'm talking to you on YouTube and stuff like that, but I'm thinking about you, and I know this recovery business can be difficult. But if you ever want to talk, I can talk to you on Zoom, one-on-one if you want. You can leave a comment in the comments below on this channel, excuse me, on this live chat, the hookup. You can ask me a question if you want me to do a video on something. And you can email me, I'll email you back. We're in this together. Recovery is a we thing, not a me thing. Okay? So just remember that. You're never alone. I don't care where you live, what time zone you're in. We're in this together, okay? We're in this together. So I'm gonna shut her off, okay, everybody? I just want to thank you all for showing up. This is my maiden voice to my live stream. I'll try another one in a couple of weeks to see how it goes. And then we'll just see how it goes. I'll pick a topic and we can talk about a topic a little bit. Okay, maybe we can do a Zoom meeting one day too, and have a real meeting, a real face-to-face meeting. That's what I'm thinking about doing too. I got some really, just have a regular meeting like any other meeting, okay? I want to thank you all. Like I say in my videos, stay safe, stay sober. God bless. We're in this together. Ciao for now. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you, okay? God bless you all. Thank you very much for coming by. Bye for now.